As Moota said, we don't come for apologize to nobody still, you know what I mean? See? So we just did it. So listen, I mean, I've been hearing that reasoning, I've been playing that clips over and over again, and some heavy reasoning, you know? Because the God and the devil thing. And what Moota was saying, that to lick up your consciousness, you might as well get rid of the God and the devil. Because if you think about the God, you think about the devil. You think about the devil, you think about God. So you must eliminate that from your consciousness. I mean, Ross McCoy, what's been said there? How you look on that?
Well, from my point of view, there's no God. So, well, when I say there is no God, you know, there is a God, because God is an illusion in our people's head. So God kind of real still. You know, but we see God as a virus in our people's head. Like, oh, you have a virus in a computer. So God is like a virus that take over people operating system.
So you see God as a virus?
Yeah.
Okay.
God is a virus, and you take over your operating system. Just like how you hear them have malware and Trojan and them kind of thing there. So right though, it take over command from you, like how a man with a hack in your system, in your computer system. I see him here, so God and religion hack in your brain and take over your operating system. So you now have no control over your operating system. But worse than that is like, you give the power to them. I don't know if they have some program on the computer where you can give the power to somebody on a remote end, like a program called TeamViewer. You can say, alright, make a share screen and then allow you to take over my computer remotely. So at the same thing now with the God thing now. You hand over your power to this entity which you have never met. Yeah? And you are here say, boy, I'm dead from your great grandfather and before days, and them never meet him neither. You understand? So yeah, it's a fiction thing. It's a nice story. Like when Osho say religion is for kids. You know? Yeah.
Well,
for some little picnic.
Religion for kids them.
Yeah.
See.
You know, it's like an iPhone. Some people idle and them thing there. So like the parents want them to behave. So them give them an iPhone and allow them to go on in the corner, go and juke the button them. Well, it's the same thing now. The slaves master now want you to behave yourself. So him give you God, and you did a bow down to him and a worship him and them thing there with your like idle self instead of doing something constructive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, then. I want to bring Jammers into the mix. Jammers, come through.
Wow, Dougie, what a big question. I have to respect my brother for the answers then. I don't know if he meant to say, but he said he said when he said it like entity. He said an entity, you know. But I got a question to ask you, you know, because if you go to Latin and you look for God, you can't find God in a Latin dictionary. Yeah, there's no word for God in the Latin dictionary. The word for God is Deus. Yeah. And Deus also mean the devil.
Deus mean the devil, see?
Deus mean the devil as well. So it mean the trickster. You know, so there's no word for God. There was no G in the Latin alphabet, I think till about the 6th century. You know, so there was no God. There's no such thing as God in the Latin alphabet. The only thing, if you take away the G, it was a C. So instead of God, you got code X with the X. So they throw a code of this X on us. And the X in Romans is 10. 10 means the whole, like something in tender. So a tender state. So it's not hell, it's held. You're in this held state at the crossroads. But you can't get resurrected because you're in a held state. So basically, yes, this is it's a concept to keep us held, you know, in this state, because people talk about Christ, but they can't act in a crisis. So if you know who Christ is, you should be able to act in a crisis. When a crisis is at the crossroads, when you cry what is, you see the reality of what something is because you're at the crossroads. So then you resurrect yourself because you become aware of the reality of something. So that is the real crisis, a state of awareness. But it's across you. The only time you see a cross is when there's a dead body. It's in a cemetery, you know. So when somebody's wearing a cross, they're in a held state. They're a walking dead. The walking dead.
Get it. So I wanted to bring Ras McCoy into the mix. So, what's your views about churches then and etc.? Do you think that we should be, just what your views on church? Yeah.
Well, church have a little bit of I use still, you know, cause it better the eye glad them stay in the church than go out the road go cause trouble. So that are the only use I see the church have. But real productive use like helping the community and them things, we not see the church I do that. Cause the church and the state link up as one to control the people. And the church offer you salvation when you're dead, but in your life a misery. On the other hand now, the politician, he might promise you things where he can't fulfill. Yeah, the politician can't fulfill the things them where he offer. So he keep telling you lies and lies and lies and lies and lies. Yeah. So the people them who the preacher boy is smart, you know, can I tell you something why you don't know about neither, you know. Can I tell you about after death and him never dead yet. You understand? Because only a dead man can tell about death. No living man can't tell about death. You understand? So it's a very clever brother, this preacher brother, you know, and the religious people, they're very clever. So them offer you these things. Right? So if you're fool enough to take it up now, you're fool enough to take out the money out of your pocket and drop it in other something too. You understand? So yeah, them clever out here though. But it's you for know so well then, you know, it's about the eye. And when I say about the eye, I don't mean the selfishness of the eye. I mean the universalness of the eye. For know so well then, within the eye there is a universal consciousness. You understand? And this universal consciousness is infinite. You know, it pervades the universe, and so all the DNA what they in the universe, they're in the eye. You understand? So you can deal with life in a universal way, or you can deal with it in a selfish way, individualistic way, as opposed to say individual way, but an individualistic way, selfish way, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know that's it. We have it from Ras McCoy and Jammers. Jammers, I know you'll be speaking on the 6th of August, the Poems of Words. Just briefly, what you'll be touching a little bit about? We'll be talking about.
Yeah, I'll be explaining the history of words, why words have been created, how you can use two words to empower themselves, what words are really about, and it relates to science, it relates to astrology, it relates to achieving your potential, it relates to how your youth progress in school, it portrays messages. So I'll be giving different aspects, some aspects that you might not have heard of before. And yeah, I'm looking forward to being at that event on the 6th.
Okay then. So inside the host, as I said, we do have Jammers and we do have Ras McCoy inside the host. And also we'll be joined by Edison, will be joining us a little bit shortly. Also we're looking to hear from brother Siayome as well. So we're gonna have some serious reason now go on. You know, so I encourage people to get your pen and paper out. And what we do, we're a few generous. I will give away some free tickets. You know, people phoned in and reason with us. We're going to offer you a ticket to come to the event on the 6th of August. We're talking about investing in yourself, your family, and your education. And we did that event on the 11th of June. And where we did have several speakers speaking down there. And we try to keep the same theme, more of a family theme, and people take the reasoning, people can network and vibes up, because there's nothing like this at all, where people can really vibes up and feel good and get information, in fact there are other festivals happening as well, on the same theme. So that's what we're about, and we're not doing it because of money. In fact, we don't make money at this thing. That's the truth, but we do it because we want to empower the community, because out of love, so it's very important that people take advantage, come down, network, get information and share with each other. See, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little bit more of the recording of the great man Muta Baruka. Yes, as I said, we're placed the Muta. Muta's a serious motherfucker. Not for a reason, I love Muta to the max. So this thing about negative and positive, jammers,
yes,
coming partners, see?
Right. If you were
hold on, before I forget, my manners, we also have the great man Siayome inside
big up.
Well, so he might come in when I'm ready. So
well, don't tell me about all these kings you have in one room, man.
We don't get to that because Edison will be here as well. So
Lord,
some serious reason I go on. So jammers, come in.
All right. If you went to buy a car now, and I tell you the car, fantastic, you don't need to put, the car only had one driver, the brakes is perfect, and you buy the car without checking the negative part of the car. You can end up killing yourself just because you're looking at the positive and you're not looking at the negative. So the negative is as good as the positive, because then you got the balance. You can see what's right with the car or what's wrong with the car, what you need to do to get the car to run at optimum level. So negative and positive is both good, you see. So that's the real thing. There's not such a thing as a negative or positive. There is a balance, you see. And if you ain't got the balance, then you're off balance.
I see Simon like he want to dance. He want to skank, because but you soon come in a minute, Simon. McCoy, you want to come in?
Yeah, well, everything operates under yin and yang. Everything in the physical universe operates under yin and yang. But yin and yang is not opposing, it's complementary. Even though them says the laws are opposite, it's not really opposing, it complements each other. If you have a left hand, hopefully you should have a right hand. Yeah. The bird, them can't fly upon one wing. So you need a left wing and a right wing, to fly. So, you have to have the balance there, like Jama said. If you don't have the balance, then you got imbalance. And the imbalance, they got show you have. You understand? Just like the scales, if you have them old time scale where you put one thing on one side and it tilt, and the next thing on the next side where it tilt, you got to see that imbalance there and it not work out. So you have to have a nice balance. So most people now, like if you look on parliament over here, so now, them have a government and them have a opposition. And them oppose one another. You understand? So every day you see them a fight against one another. Well, really and truly, that's not how it's supposed to be. Because we're supposed to be working together to achieve something, you understand? Not really positive like the Virgin said, but something balanced. Yeah, because we can ask ourselves, is fire a positive or a negative thing? Yeah. If it's a Grenville Tower thing, you're not going to like fire, none at all. You understand? But if they go cook your food and eat up your house and them kind of thing there in the winter, or your electricity for have air conditioning in the summer and them things, then yes, definitely fire is a lovely thing. And as you know, fire is part of the 4 or 5 elements, depending upon which system you work with.
It's true. It's like a knife, isn't it? Because a knife, you could kill someone with a knife, but a knife can be very instrumental to having a surgery or whatever to save your life, you know. So it's the meaning you give it, yeah, at that particular time.
Yeah.
Okay, then, one more. I want to bring in Siayome, who just arrived inside the into the house, into the space of consciousness, deep consciousness, you know. Me and Sam have enough reasoning over the past few weeks. In fact, when I first met Siayome, me and Sam did a talk, and I simply said, "One is brother ready for this thing, yeah." And we had reason, and out of that reason, we come to the conclusion that this brother is part of the conscious host. You know what I mean? And no anybody can come into the host of consciousness, but Sam is more than qualified. You know, in fact, he's become one of my you know, I've looked up to him. You know what I mean? You know, as a teacher. See. So, but that's because he's done a lot of work in that particular area of vibration, consciousness, you know, and in fact he's left no people behind, because some people was talking about 15, 20 years ago, they still talk rhetoric. You don't do that because it's going beyond that now, see. But Sam, how you keeping, brother? That's the first thing.
Very well, my brother. Love and honor and respect and, you know, high vibrations to you, my brother. Thank you. And respect to the brothers in the studio. First time I say, brother McCoy, me hear his voice and thing, and I resonate with the principles where I come from, because that was the, how can I say, the soil of fertility when I was a youngster. Walk through, you know, the passage of Rasta and so forth. And many people not even really understand it really. While they will think to them, no, this, then it's got nothing to do with age and all of that business. It was a vehicle to convey the very truths that so much of we right now is, you know, more ready for, or you, and some of it coming with the awareness to receive that they're understanding, because it's within you already, you know. And my brother Jammers, wow, this brother with words and everything, you know. I mean, it's so important, these things, because words is what you use.
But you know the history of Jammers? You know, he was in a caravan. He was in the van one time.
Well, yeah, my
and
brother.
That's when he find him. He find himself.
You know,
it's either bread or cheese.
Well, it's true, you see, because, see, I will speak from my own experience. From since as a youth, spiritual quest, if you want to call it that, was there, right? You know, from a youngster, from boy, I can even remember things in the cut and the dreams me have, and things, yeah. And this thing about God, this thing about the devil, these are things that you ask from since a little youth. This is what I've been asking from since a little youth. And I've seen 50 summers and things, and therefore I'm not no little youth no more. And I said to myself, when I reached 19, certain things happened to me. And I says, you know what? I realize people around me don't know nothing. And I'm not saying that as disrespectful, but it's a thing that you have to come to realize when you're youngster growing, and you are able to feel the core of your soul. That is what is penetrating its light into your own personal consciousness awareness, to ask various questions, to realize there is more to this program they call life. Yeah, what happens soon you come to the womb, right, onto this side. There is this thing where people say, well, where were you before you come here? In the sense of, where were you before you come into this world? This incarnating again into this something, yeah? Because originally you come from the absolute, everything, into something. And this something is what becomes the program soon as you accept this idea of being born, like it was the first time you come here. right? And you come into this construct we call time. And time gives you this limitation, yeah? Now, when you take on this idea of being born, and this is the first time you come in, then you get in the program because you're looking at other children and this is the thing they might tell you, well, he's born. Oh, I was born too. Oh, so if you buy into that program of being born, then you're into the birth and death thing, right? So this birth and death thing is the program that now make you have a conditioned mind and body to be filled with ideas, beliefs, and thoughts that are not of your own. They are passed on conditionings, passed on concepts. As a youth, before your critical thinking comes in and reasoning, you're just absorbing that sponge from the emotional and mental atmosphere that you are within, all right? And around, or what you go into and so forth. So a lot of this thing is taking place that you're absorbing information on a very psychic level, right? But you're unaware of the impact of this information coming like code and energies, yeah, because energy is information. And this is coming off what everybody is emitting. Everybody's emitting information because everything is vibration, everything is vibratory, you know?
Let me just jump in here because earlier on we talk about consciousness. What is consciousness? Because I know that that's your particular area of reasoning, you know? But just give your whole perspective, your thing about consciousness. See?
Well, consciousness is the generator of all things. Consciousness is the substance behind everything made visible. In fact, everything is consciousness, vibrating at different frequencies of consciousness that have their own expression and their own state of being. And essentially what we is consciousness, because there's no such thing really as a physical, because you have you see, I was about to say, well, you have the proof, and I have to correct myself with that, because scientists are not proof. Scientists are human rationalizations depending upon human developed equipment, scientific so-called measuring rods, in order to then come to a conclusion through human rationalization of the data that they have now gathered from their instruments to say whether this thing or such a thing is so or not so. See? And if you wait upon scientists to, like for example, simply the scientists recently come up with something about, they realize that plants absorb from other plants when they don't get enough light to operate or activate the photosynthesis. They need to operate to multiply or to grow and support, nourish them. And then they said that, well, this is also what people do. People absorb other energies from other people. Now, some people use that report to kind of give them a permission slip to then say, oh, did you know we absorb energies from one another? And the thing is, look, that is a fact. That is more than a fact, it's a truth. Yeah? Way before scientists come to give people permission to say, okay, you're not going to sound so crazy because we've just given you a permission slip. Yeah? And now you can't talk about it. But look, that is a reality whether people want to acknowledge it or not. And we've known these things, you feel vibes. I mean, you grow up and you hear the word vibes. Vibes. What vibes is? Short for vibration. See? Yeah? So what I'm saying is that consciousness is what you is. See? And that's really what you are. You're not physical. Right? Because even this thing physical comes from the word physics, which is dealing with what? The science of motion. Right? And what produces motion? Motion takes place in your consciousness. I'm moving my hand up and down like so. It's my awareness that is registering that there is motion. This motion is taking place in my awareness, in my conscious awareness. And I'm aware of my hand, which is part of what has been created as my body, in the sense of to make this consciousness visible on this plane with everybody else. Yeah? Right?
Okay.
So consciousness is really everything. And is the foundation to really step into reality of yourself. Because
right.
first, there's three immutable laws or principles Yeah, that everything stamped on, and everything else is the operative laws. And the first three principle is unchangeable principle is all is consciousness, all is correspondence, and all is vibration.
Vibration.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the foundation.
Okay then. So that's where we're heading. So I'm giving a perspective, you're thinking about consciousness. So again, you're lucky to SNR Radio. Just find your voice on SNR Radio. And we're here to give the truth, not the truth, and the absolute truth. As I said inside house, we do have Jammers, McCoy, and Siayome inside the house. Yeah. So in about 15 minutes, we'll up the live link. So anybody want to ask a question, feel free. The live link number is 07960 239 493. Again, 07960 239 493. Not right now because we're just edge yourself into the reason. Just warm myself into the reason still. You know? See? So this is brother Dougie on the SLR Radio. Find your voice. As I said, we do have an event on the 6th of August.
And what it does is, I think it's the first book of its kind that links the hieroglyph with the Greek and the Latin and English words. It shows the link between the words and how it's a starting point. It breaks down all the different languages as well. So it's a starting point for people, anybody who's interested in language or words, to how it's A to Z. So it's written like a dictionary, but I call it a grammary, to have a grasp of and explore language at their own pace and achieve their own potential. Because basically we're dictated by a dictionary. The dictionary is really a book of instructions. It's giving you orders what to do. And so this book, it shows you. And another thing is, a dictionary is constructed by someone who's not Egyptologist. So it's a Eurocentric invention. That as when someone gives you a dictation, they give you an order to follow with no questions to be asked. You know, and the next thing is that most people, when they go to the etymology of the word, they go as far as Latin, and that they place Latin as the authority. But the root word of Latin means to hide and conceal. So this book goes past what's been hidden and concealed. It gives you an inkling now how to explore the true meaning of what these words are, the reality of words. Yeah? And I'll be selling the book at your event, of course.
And the earth, you must understand, is an entity by itself, and it is constituted as a part of this universe. It goes through the changes that it goes through all the time, because
First.
is the first law of the universe. Stagnation is death. And so what is happening to us now, as as it relates to...
Well, I'll probably have about 60 something.
Always been a part
Yeah.
of the way this particular part of the universe called Earth processes itself. Okay? So you must understand, it's not a question that we're all so bad and so evil and so terrible. No, this is exactly what is happening to us. This is why this is happening to us. When the second race of man was here, they themselves at the time, and this is how the idea of we coming from apes and the tail and blah blah, they themselves at the time realized that because they started to be governed by their ego and the idea that they were given free will, that they had the power.
Yeah, the system is a way of turning it inside or upside down and get you stressful. You know, and people going for a lot of stress right now. So we want to talk about the whole thing about mental health. See, we want a reason. And I said we've got on with the live link in about 5-10 minutes time, so people can share their concern about the whole thing about mental health or stress, what they're going through, because the system can be very stressful. But you need to have a mechanism. I know that Simon would agree with that. You know, you need to have tools in this environment here, because this place is very stressful. You know, so I want to go straight to the reason, because I know McCoy as a reasoning pan that. What's McCoy coming upon us?
Well, health is the natural state where somebody supposed to in. So them divide up your health between your body health and mental health. But use one person, and so people tend to don't realize so well then, you know, what in your body can affect your mind. And what in your mind can affect your body. Well, outside the environmental factors can also affect your mind and affect your body. Also, your hereditary factors, that means your ancestor gene them. Some people grow in some family and you look like say appear people with certain type of mental challenges them face when them come on earth, you know. So but we like to keep the thing balanced because balance is the way. So Babylon society now show down stress upon people. So stress are the main cause of mental unhealthiness, because them call it mental health, but it's really mental unhealthiness. You understand? Because when you have mental health, you're in a good shape. You understand? So this mental unhealthiness now, the main cause is stress. But emotional content can also affect, you know, your brain and how the brain function. So that me I go touch upon in a little way in the consciousness presentation about so how the ancient people used to look upon the body and the emotional thing. How you have emotional the various emotions linked to your organ and them thing there, which also affect your brain. So people, if certain organ like say liver, your liver, them say in a Chinese medicine and old time Greek and I think also Kemetic medicine, your liver now deal with anger. When it out of balance, it deal with anger. Yeah, so you go find out the anger and the rage you know when your liver no balance, it can trigger them emotions within the eyes still. So likewise, you know, you have other organs where deal with it, like lungs deal with sorrow and grief and them kind of thing there, you know, melancholy and them thing there. So all this can have effect on our mental outlook. The food that we eat can also have effect on our mental outlook, because like we did say earlier in the introduction is that there's a food war going on, and the food war also affect our mind, you know. So everything now is to slow it down in order to keep we as slave. Yeah, but because a lot of us cannot take that pressure, so them claim so we end up in a depression and mental illness and all them things, you know. So you know, you have certain way we can check and balance ourselves before we really get into that state the way we can really, we are gonna need other people help to come out of it. Yeah, when the people really get very sick, themselves can't help themselves out of it. You understand? So there's exercises, mental exercises, meditation, chanting, mantras and them thing there, herbal teas and them thing there where people can do, you know, like yoga and tai chi and all these more internal arts you can use to balance the system and relieve the stress and harmonize the system. So, yeah, I go on a bit now, so you can't make one of the next bridging them. Yeah.
Right. Basically, people have mental health because they're not practicing Medunecha. Medunecha is the science of the mind in relation to nature. Yeah. And its relation to nature is your relation to nature. It's not a mental thing. A mental is based on the thought process. A thought process is based on analyzing. It's a man-made process where the limited is trying to understand the unlimited. So the imbalance causes a stress because the limited cannot function in the unlimited, and this imbalance causes the stress, which is called mental health. They're trying to achieve mind over matter, but it's matter over mind. So this is the problem in mental health, because basically our ability is in relation to a science of nature. It's not an analytical process. I'll give you an example. They'll give you names in an attempt to understand nature, but you can't relate to nature with a name. For instance, they'll tell you see things, but seeing doesn't tell you how you work with nature. It's just a name. It doesn't give you the way how you work with nature. Seeing relates to fire. Seeing relates to sight, it relates to fire. So that's why when you see something, you become heated, you become excited, because it's a fire. You relate. It's not a word. It's a sight. So your eye is a fire vehicle. When you see things, you become excited. Fire. Then your nose, underneath your eyes is your nose, which is air. You see something, you become excited, you have to take in the air. So it's not a nose, it relates to nature, it's the air. Underneath your nose is the mouth, which relates to moisture, water. So you've got the eye, which is fire, the nose, which is air, the mouth, which is water. In all of these mechanisms, you see, when you produce heat, inside the word heat is the word eat. So your eating controls the process of the nature. Inside the word breathe is the word eat. So your breathing relates to the eating, which controls the process of air. Then you've got the moisture. Inside the word water is the word ate. So everything that you eat in you is your power to control nature. So this is basically also, it's the science of the Medunecha, which is the science of the mind. And this is why if you do not use this science, or you have little understanding of this science, you will have an imbalance of your nature.
Okay, that's it's quite interesting what's been said there. Okay then, I'm gonna bring Simon into the reason, because the reason why we're gonna talk about the whole thing about mental health, because I'll use the word mental, just move that one side for a minute, but we're talking about stress, real stress, pressure of the mind, you know. And one of the things is that we're not balance ourselves out, because all this is no different than if you boil, well, you put a kettle and it just boils to a certain point, it's just under a little bit of pressure, you know, it screams out, you know. And that's the same like your mind, you know, it's just boiling out, you know, just wants ventilate something and just, you know. But anyway, Siayome, just coming upon us.
Yeah, interesting things I hear, and everything you hear can contribute, stimulate, expand your own understanding of what you already know. And what I mean already know, it's very important to know the difference between mental knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Mm-hmm. See, mental knowledge is about thinking about something, analyzing it, as Jamas was saying, the mental faculty. And we identify very much with the mental. Now, mental is about, as I said, thinking about something, talking about something, analyzing it, comparing it, all right? And then we think we know something because we're talking about it, thinking about it, analyzing it, comparing it with other things, and then mentally deducing, inducing, coming to rationalization, and then a conclusion to say, oh, this is what's happening. Now, spiritual knowledge is a different thing. Spiritual knowledge is actually dealing with talking from the thing, not speaking about the thing. You're speaking from the thing. You're resonating and expressing from the thing. If I say thing, we're just using that loosely because thoughts are things. Thoughts are actually living entities. All right. So when we say things, we're talking about on this side what has summed up to a specific thing. However, we come from a no thing state, that which is not defined, that you can limit with, boundaries and so-called defining. Definition means to set limits and bounds to. So we have had things that we've been conditioned in a world that sets limits and bounds to the way we are perceiving ourselves. Now, there's a difference between mind and when we chat about mental health, it's like an arena we have been caught up in based upon the psychology, the Western terminologies, how mind seems to always be told to us that, is like it's the highest pinnacle or something. Okay? When mind ain't the same as consciousness. You see, consciousness goes beyond the conditioned, structured mindset, which comes from conditioned thoughts, which become beliefs, which condition your view or perception about what you see or what happens to you. Now, or what you experience, I should say. Now, the thing is, where I be coming from is about talking about, look, everything is vibration. We have to deal with principles because we get caught up in concepts. The mind cannot perceive and comprehend what we are dealing with when we're chatting about infinity and connecting with the true reality of your being. The mind deals with concepts. At the beginning when I was speaking, when I came in, the first thing I opened up was about, look, we come from the absolute everything into something, okay? And in this something, you enter into a limitation because now you're governed by time, right? And then, as I said, the program about birth and death, that locks you in now to this mental state, okay? And mind and body identification. Rather than realizing you're dealing with a power tool. You don't identify with your power tool when you know you are the operator of your power tool. But if you're forcefully identifying with yourself to be the mind and the body, then you become trapped in forced perceptions, which now, because everything is vibrational, you're tuning into certain vibrational states that, based on beliefs, concepts again, as I said, not principles. And these concepts are based upon how we've been conditioned to believe, like we got this duality of God and the devil, yeah? Right? You take a principle which is dealing with polarity, where you're dealing with hot and cold, two extremes of the same thing, in order to know how to transmute your mental state from a lower identification of vibration to the higher identification of vibration for you to change your mental state. But what's happened is that rather than living by universal cosmic principles, we're living by man-made laws and ideologies that cause you to become your own generator of your own illness. Okay.
So let me just jump in there because so how would I see where you're coming from, because what you're saying really that if we live by the principle of the universal law, right, we was able, and this is what Russ McCoy was saying, that we're becoming in line with ourselves and the universe. So it's about really creating that kind of balance, and but the question is now is that those who under that kind of mental health challenges, got mental health, so to speak, right, because again it's just words and labels, because I mean you've already, from you say you got mental health, you've already told yourself you got mental health, right, but it's, to me it's about, I would say, I use the word challenges, mental challenges, right? I mean, how would you advise someone, how you would navigate someone to out of that kind of state?
Well, look,
and I would bring
this is a broad question, but there is a simplicity to it. But you see, when you try to comprehend truth, that which with the mind can't comprehend it. The mind cannot comprehend what the heart knows. See, there's another level of awareness.
That's quite interesting. Say that again. The mind can't comprehend what the heart
knows.
Yeah.
You see, even. All right. Before I go to what I'm gonna go to, there's this thing about duality, okay, and God and the devil. Yeah. Now we've already amongst us have kind of helped clarify some things that you're dealing with polarity, right? And what it is when you're dealing with good and bad. You see, this puts you in a mindset that starts to create imbalancement within you. Right? Because you're not perceiving reality in the correct way, in the harmonious way. You're not in alignment. You see, this is all about being in alignment with yourself. I and I. Yeah, the I is not separate from the whole. So that's what I and I really is. It's about the personal being one with the universal. That's what even yoga means, to unite you, the individual, with the universal. Right? In ancient Kemet, you got Shituat Neter, which is the hidden way of the Supreme Being. You got these terms, Smai, which means union. But then, you see, and yoga isn't just to do with the body movements. That's just one of the third limbs. Ashtanga deals with what? The 8 limbs. And there's eight levels to what is considered yoga, which is really uniting the individual with the universal. This is the cure of all cures. This is what we are actually here to do. Align with our grander self. Yeah, the individual soul uniting with the universal soul. Yeah. My mother tell me, you see, in the old folks' wisdom, yeah, there's a lot of spiritual cosmic laws in it. And I was raised up with these little things. And because I thought deep into it, I ended up discovering, wow, it weren't just a saying that we just repeat and say, yeah, mother used to say that, or parents used to say that. The thing with polarity, you see, my mother used to say, one hand can't box, one hand can't clap. Really is the term, one hand can't clap. And that's showing you that, you see, when you stay in this God and the devil, this duality thing, left and right hemisphere of your brain, yeah, all of this stuff, you have to realize that balance is the natural state. And when there is something imbalanced, then even by universal principles, it will try to readdress that balance, to bring things back into balance. So sometimes some challenges we experience, or sometimes some storms that come through into our lives, aren't there to necessarily, harm or damage us. They're actually there to clear the way. Clear out some certain discordancies in order for us to be able to get clear with ourselves, to think right. Now, when we think on a different level to the way society is constructed, based on a mental prison, then it's quick for you to be termed and labeled mentally ill.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Now,
That's right.
we create our reality whether we acknowledge this or not. But what we've been given is an external program. A God external, a devil external, which is just basically taking the principle of polarity that resides within you, part of the laws of your own being, and now externalized it and have you fighting with yourself because you're now judging the left hand and the right hand. And these thoughts are going to create imbalanced states in you because people don't realize that how much of their own, the way they feel about themselves, the way it's not even the way you're thinking is part of the problem. Thinking is part of the problem as well.
Yeah, but the question is, how do you reverse that thinking?
Well,
how do you take
this is why it's about, it's not, this is why what it's about is coming home. You have to go within and become aware of your mental states, the thoughts that are coming and going within you. There's a self-responsibility level. There's not going to be, hey, yo, man, slap this pill for you and everything just clean up. Yeah, you don't have to do no work. You don't have to take no responsibility for yourself. Just check this pill and everything cool. And it seems like that's what we seem to want to have. And it don't work that way.
You have to begin to take responsibility for cleaning up your own garbage. Yeah? You know, somebody ain't gonna come in your yard and empty your dustbin for you.
Yeah.
You have to go and empty your own dustbin
Right.
with all the waste and the things that you accumulate, you don't need no more, and put it in the right place where it can be disposed of correctly. You understand?
Okay, let me bring Russ McCoy and also Jammers into the mix, because and there's people out there right now probably going through some challenges. Anyway, we're gonna have the live link now. Anyway, the live link number is 07960 239 493. I repeat, 07960 239 493. So if you want to phone in, feel free to do that. Yeah, those out there going for some challenges, feel free to do that. And we're talking about mental health. We're talking about all things about consciousness, the vibration. And as I said before, that we do have a powerful event was taking place on the 6th of August. So people want to phone in and reason with us and want to know about the event, please do. And we will be giving away some complimentary tickets as well a little bit later on. So Russ McCoy, as you can see that we are going this your thing about mental health and etc. And the question is really now, and you did mention it earlier on, the whole thing about balance and etc. But people out there right now, you know, they want tools. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's where I go going on. Yeah. All right. Now, first of all, like Siayome was saying, but we're going to probably make it a bit simpler so everyone can understand. The basis of mental illness is excessive mental chatter. You understand? So it means too much talking are going on in your head. Right? And that's why we are talking about getting within the balance. That's why I say you have to clean out the system, right? No, like him say, yoga have 8 limbs to it, and yeah, you know, when you practicing yoga, you have yama, niyama, right? Well, no, I can't remember the order of them, but one of them is about your culture and them thing there, or you grow up and them thing there. And the other one is like your discipline, yeah? And then, yeah, like, you know, and then you have the, what you call it, you have the asanas, which are the physical exercise, but also it affects your mentality. All of them affects your mentality. All of the 8 limbs of the yoga affect your mentality. Yeah, and then you have the breathing exercise now, which really help to calm you down and soothe that mental chatter and bring down that mental chatter down to a stage now where you go to the 5th stage. You can't remember the name of it, but it's the withdrawal of the senses. Yeah, so when you start withdraw your senses now, you go even deeper and deeper, and then there is 2 more levels in between. I can't remember them function, but it all help you to the higher level, which is called samadhi. And samadhi now is the state of enlightenment, where you become, some people that say super conscious, because you link the subconscious with the consciousness, and you're flowing. So I could go back to this mental chatter now. Yeah, because if you catch it at early stage and start observe this mental chatter, and you look at it as the observer rather than trying to fight it, you just observe it and say, oh, I saw you go on, what a thing, make you go on so. You understand? So then you start observe yourself almost like say you're an outsider looking in. Then that chatter now will start get quieter and quieter, because as Jammers did I say about mind over matter, and he must say matter over mind. But me I say if you do a mind, it do a matter. Yeah, so
I like that.
yeah, so if you do if when you look pan yourself and certain thoughts come in your head and you just observe it, you don't mind about it, you just observe it and you watch it and you say alright, and you just allow it to just melt out and drift away. The same thing with tension in your body. You just allow it to just melt out and drift away and become relaxed. So the same way you can allow your body to come relaxed, at the same way, because the heights of meditation is total stillness, the total silence, all the chattering cease, and pure and beautiful consciousness enter. So jammers now.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to break down the word observe, because the Western society knows when they say observe, they know what it means, but we don't know what it means. Observe means not to serve. Yeah, so you look at the word observe, you see the word serving. Ob means against, so it's against serving. So they know that when they look at something, they're not going to serve it. You know, so when you observe something, it means not to serve. All right, and I just want to go as well. What you were saying as well is basically, people have to look into certain words to find out what the reality is. Look at the word live in Latin and you'll see the word livio. Livio means black and blue and to envy. So basically we work with nature as a oneness. That's how we function. We function with nature. They live. So that means they envy what you do. So what they do something to counteract your ability to work with nature. If you look at the way the body is designed, they call themselves white, but white means wisdom and it means wit. But the function of them they have a pallor. Pallor means a deficiency. When you have a deficiency, you have to work outside of your framework. So basically, we work in our framework to be able to work with nature. So that's how we function. They work outside of their framework. So they have to move outside of their framework. And what they do is they create an addiction. So they create addiction means, ad means to move, diction means word. So they create these words to cause an addiction to make us move outside of our normal operating system, instead of our internal system, which is at one with nature. And I can see that. Siam, do you want to come in? That's why they give you a verse instead of talking about the universe. When you go into church, they're taking you away from the unity and giving you a turning away. That's why they call it an alternative, because they want to alter the native.
Okay, this is where I'd come in. The words are very important, because the words, or I would say, let's break it down this way. The language, which means tongue. It is the way that we program our subconscious and our reality. But this is also within other languages. But but here's this. There is a lot of imbalancement going on. Yes. But the intention behind, the power is within you. And this intention now, right, is where you focus your consciousness. Your consciousness is more powerful. And the life within you is more powerful than any illness. But it's what we have become more, when we talk about faith, or what we put so much energy into if we use the word believe, because we can get caught. They are the words and the spells and so forth. Yes, they're saying something different to what the actual etymology actually means. However, at the same time as this, in this language, you got 26 letters. 26 letters makes up the alphabet. But we have to come to understand that there's nothing that is good nor bad. We have to understand that in order to heal ourselves, we got to come out of certain concepts of that makes us bias and makes us not understand or understand how we can utilize something that may appear to be negative. You have to understand that you can utilize it into the positive. What I mean by this is that we talked about polarity that has been turned into good and bad, God and the devil. And these create illusionary concepts or force concepts that have a vibrational rate to it, okay? That then when you believe into it, you begin to create these conflicts in yourself. Everything is vibrational. And it's important to understand that we have to balance things up. So we have 180 degrees of what would be considered agreeable aspect of our nature. And we have 60 degrees of what is disagreeable. So you got agreeable and disagreeable, all right? Or you got where you get your good and bad, or God and the devil from. These are principles within yourself that has been distorted. Now, when you're dealing with the language, half of it, the way what we've been given is the part that actually runs counterclockwise. It takes you away from where you actually want to be going in. Takes you backwards. But you have to acknowledge the other part of the language. Yeah? The other 26 gives you 52. Now you're dealing with a wholeness. We have to remember that wholeness is what we need to be focusing on if we are talking about health. And rather than encouraging further imbalancement, because the mind tries to deal with concepts, and what you're trying to deal with is beyond your mind. You're trying to get in touch with the divine essence of you, okay? And there are various practices. Ras McCoy was explaining about the breath. In Sanskrit, it's called pranayama, yeah? But the thing is, it's like, it gets to a point where it's not about the word, it's the feeling, which is the vibrational frequency you're tuning into, okay? To free you from the mind game that the words can entrap you within, yeah? Because you have to tune in to the vibration that you are activating or generating within yourself based upon the idea, a word, a thought conjures up in your awareness. Because even though the language is corrupted, for example, the word love is going to conjure up a different thing in different people's minds. So based on the definition you're giving to, or the meaning a word has in its definition to you, will determine what vibration you're going to tune into of what that word's evoking, but what vibration you're actually tuning into that can either be line you up to feel good, or line you up or disalign you to make you end up feeling out of alignment with yourself. Now, your emotional state, we talk about the mental health, but the emotional state, you see, you got an emotional body, which is an indicator to let you know whether you're in alignment with yourself or out of alignment with yourself. When you're in alignment with yourself, you feel good, you feel positive, you feel expansive, you feel wonderful. When you're not in alignment with yourself, you don't feel so expansive, you don't feel so good, so to speak. Yeah? Now, this is a universal principle to indicate, to assist you to know that, look, when you're in alignment with yourself, you're going to feel a certain way. And this is how you're supposed to feel, how your higher, the grander you feels. It's in total truth, love, and bliss. Yeah? Now, when you're not feeling in that good state, that is an indication that your emotional guidance system is working, because who wants to continue feeling bad and thinking, yeah, let me continue carrying on with that? The feelings that don't feel comfortable is an indication that you're out of alignment with yourself. Now, this is assisted by a lot of the programming we've been given, the God and the devil, and good and bad, right and wrong. You're being judged by some power on high, okay? These things generate an imbalance in yourself because you're not aligning with the true nature and feeling of life, you see. Now, there's a part of the language that when you deal with the other half of it, then you can use the language to empower you. This is all this for health and healing. We must deal with what empowers us based upon what assists you to come into greater alignment with yourself, which is you being in alignment with the source of your being, the creator, the universal consciousness. I and I is one. You see, the I that Ras McCoy was saying is that it's whole. It's a universe within itself. It's not the way we've been given the meaning to mean that you're dealing with just some selfish, just you alone, and you don't care about anybody else. That is an erroneous usage of the word I, because it's not even a word. It's the ninth letter in the alphabet, which 9 indicates completeness, wholeness, fullness. So the I within you, you have the I, which is your personal awareness and your individual soul. And you have the I, which is the whole, the universal soul, where your personal soul is to merge, unite, realize your alignment with the universal soul. This is where you begin to become free and from this illusion. You become free from the mind trap. Okay? All the thinking, the monkey mind, these things generate emotions that are like bad chemicals in you based upon beliefs which hold a lot of fear, hold a lot of negativity, pessimism, because the programs, okay? We got to realize that to rise above all of this stuff, we got to even come out of the illusion of the skin suit we're in. The skin suit gives you the illusion, yeah, that lines up with the programming in accordance to your skin suit, yeah, and your culture, and all of this stuff is programming. It doesn't line you up to your divine nature. And we can get caught in a lot of debating programs when we want to delete programs. We want to decondition our minds, right? Or our conscious awareness from a lot of the erroneous teachings about life and about ourselves and about reality in order for us to line up with a natural state of well-being that is already yours. It's natural to be healthy. It's unnatural to be, as they call it, unhealthy. It's unnatural. But we have a natural state of health if we were just to line up with our true self. It's when we're out of alignment with who we are. All of this illness comes about because we refuse to deal with reality. We'd rather fight and challenge over concepts, programs, illusions, and dogmas that we're using to formulate sense of identity with, when that's not even your identity. Okay. You see?
Let me just jump in there. Sorry, because someone just speak to someone just offline a minute ago, and I was encouraged to phone in, but they said this is the reasoning. They said respect to the brothers there, but what they said is that they want practical solutions in terms of those who are going through it, who are being systematically being torn apart by the system, and they just want to find out how can we really, move and
we hear you, and like me did say, I think you did walk out of the room that mental illness is some mental chatter. Yeah, so first you have to identify what the thing is.
Yeah, I heard you talking about the chatter.
Yeah.
So I just want to go through the steps again. So once you identify the chatter, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with the
then some people can remember, so when they're in the state of this mental illness, it's not like us in here, Them do not communicate in a balance there. You understand? Them have a balance now. So our aim now is to get them a system to come back in balance. Because them one can't come back in a balance. So all you can do is guide them with some physical, mental practice and some herbs. You understand?
So basically you really have to take them by the hand and have to go through the process, yeah?
Yeah.
I know you want to jump in, but because I'm just responding to someone who's reasoning me offline just a minute ago. You see what I'm saying, brother?
Yeah.
Even though you went through it earlier on, they still want to. Because some people just want practical, take them by the hand.
Because you see, the person who ill can't really respond like the person who is not ill. This is what you have to understand. The person who is ill is not. Him not going to define the 8 stages of yoga and this in the Buddhist concept and all that. All him know him have a whole heap of mental chatter in him head, and him need to get rid of it. Yeah, and he or she do not have the solution themselves because this chatter is overwhelming. So there are herbs and there are physical exercises if you can get them to do the exercises, because you might not be able to get them to do these things, and it's only the herb now can be able to bring them round. Now the westernized medicine use drugs what them call antidepressant and them kind of thing there, but you have herbs that also we can slow this depressing feeling, like the Siayome did say earlier.
See.
Well, he never said it in an exact way, but our existence is about happiness.
Happiness.
And once we drift away from that happiness, then sorrow take over. Yeah, and grief take over, and bad thoughts take over. And this is where the people who are in the mental illness state is, and well, I don't like if you use the word negative, but them up on one side of the spectrum.
See.
And due to that now, all them can see is
the dark,
bad thoughts.
bad thought and the darkness and so forth.
Yeah, I mean I like use the word darkness, because darkness are the greatest light. Yeah. So them what you call it now, them can't see the wood from the trees, as the expression of that.
See.
What I said, right? So you have herbs now in nature, what nature provide, you know, for balance the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
balance it, yeah.
So you need to go to some herbalist. You know, you have some herb them call. And enough of them herb that them actually make them illegal or classify them as a registered poison. Like kava and all them herb there. Yeah.
Rascal, soon come to, but we have something on the line. Greetings. Hold on, sorry, brother.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Hi. Good evening. May I say good evening to my brethren, Siayome, and to all in inside the place there. Yes, I'd like to make a comment on something that you guys were talking about earlier in regards to stress and an answer to that, a solution to that problem. My name is Paul. I'm a consultant of holistic development.
Greetings,
and I wanted to talk to you guys and share with you guys what holistic development is about and how it can be the answer to what the question was just then. Holistic development deals with the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects, the practical, logical, and intuitive aspects, and the solid, liquid, and gas states of ourselves. When someone asked earlier about how do we deal with stress, I say this: stress is something that we take on when we are at war with ourselves, as the gentleman and a few of you had said earlier. It is also translated as the war between heaven and earth, the heavenly brain and the earthly brain. And that is what you gentlemen were talking about with being out of sync. But what is the answer to that? Is us dealing with the basic common sense being made common again. Common sense is our direct rail and our connection to source. And when we are connected to source, then we can attain the knowledge, the frequency, and the direction needed to align and be informed correctly. To be information, to be informed is to be information, to be in sync. Formation is sync, is in line. Information is to be in sync and in line. So we can understand through our senses being bombarded with information. It is that which you lock onto, which you will synchronize with. And if that is not in line with your true higher self, the war begins. The way that we fix it, as was mentioned earlier on, is to pacify the mind. But the way we pacify the mind is with guidance through holistic development and understanding that there is a process and angle of attack to first stop our senses being bombarded in order to then try to gain control over our circuit. It is a known fact that who is in control of the inputs is the user. And so if we are not in control of what we take into our body on a physical, mental, and spiritual level, when we're talking about food, we're talking about knowledge, we're talking about atmosphere and surrounding and vibrations. If we don't take control over that as a first, we will never get to pacify our mind. So, would you mind if I share a poem with you guys in order to help to clear up how I see this thing?
Okay, it's a sharp, another poem, brethren, because...
It's a quick one. It's
all
a
right,
quick
no
one.
problem, go on.
In this pressured environment that we call life, stress builds as we take on the cause. There are so many things to keep our minds busy, we seldom find time to press pause. The problem with this is there's no time to think, and therefore there's no time to plan. To avoid this mess that causes us stress, we must rise up and do what we can. Peace to you guys.
Yeah, right, Dougie.
Yeah, man, guidance for that.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, man, you still on the line, brethren. We've got a reason we're still seeing.
All right, yeah, man. I'll hold tight.
Yeah, hold on tight because we don't done this. Done this.
Yeah, right, Dougie.
Yeah, you want to ask the
just
question?
a quick.
Go on.
You see, I think the point that we're trying to get to, is that we are dealing with the preventative. Most of the discussion is based on the preventative. It's not based on the cure, upon the people who are already sick.
Sir, my brethren, could you talk up? Sorry,
No, I'm saying most of the way you call it, the discussion is based on preventative, preventing it to happen. It's not based on someone who is already sick, which I think is what the discussion is about.
Sir, my brethren, could you talk up?
No, he's on the computer. He's getting feedback.
Yeah, you need to turn down your radio or something, so because me can hear myself clearly in the studio.
Brethren, turn on the computer.
Okay.
Yeah, just turn the computer down. We couldn't get feedback. See?
Yeah,
okay, forgive me. I'm trying to hear because I can't hear him clear through the phone.
You can delay. Just turn on your computer and the brother will reason with you. See?
Okay, yes, absolutely. Done.
Yeah, man.
you can hear me now? You can hear me?
Is that all right now?
Yeah, man.
Can you hear me?
You can hear you, man. Just reason with him.
Yeah.
It's fuzzy, just about.
Let me use the microphone. You can hear me now?
You sound far away, Forgive me, my brethren. I
Yeah.
need to hear you clearly so we can reason.
Well, probably your phone I get problem then because, we are talking clearly. Anyway, what I'm saying is that what we're trying to find is a solution to people who are sick, not in the prevention stage, because I think we covered the prevention stage quite well. Yeah? But the people them now who sick now want a solution. Because all the power people now out there suffering. We see them under alcoholism, under coke, under stress, under
pressure, basically.
hospital drugs. You understand? And we need to retrieve them. You understand? We need to retrieve them from the suffering that them in.
Absolutely, my friend.
And I am saying that when they are in that state, we cannot reason with them because they are not capable of reasoning. Yeah. So the only solution we have is to give them some medication. And my choice of medication is that of herbs to help
Well, that makes sense, man.
calm
That
them
makes
down until they are able to come back into the fold of consciousness, and then we can strengthen them from the top. But in the position that them in right now, them can't really reason like how me and you reason and everyone in here so reason. Them can't do that.
No,
And we have to accept that.
No, I understand that, you know, my brother, but maybe you didn't get me clear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You see, where I'm coming from is this. You see, like, if you're going to deal with an alcoholic, the
Yeah.
first thing they have to do is accept the alcoholics. The next thing they would have to do is try to stop taking in any more of the rubbish so they can start the process of reversing it. So, what I mean is this. The first stage of our problem, obviously, is not being in control of our senses and not being in control of what we're taking in. That's what I think we're all in agreement on. Hence why the corruption in the circuit, yeah? But what I'm saying is this. If we could get just a quick understanding to the basic line of knowledge that you have to be in control of what you're taking in as a first point of call to try to gain any control over anything. So herbs is one way, because that is obviously you trying to be sensible and being aware of what you are taking in through your senses. So whether it be herbs, whether it be music, whether it be logics and reasoning, you have to have an awareness of what is going to align with you and learn how to block everything that's going to be of discord. And that is the art, the true art of being sense-able, which is able to use your senses correctly.
Okay.
Being in control of what you're taking in.
Brother, it's Brother Paul, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes,
but let me just jump in here because I'm listening to the reasoning, and yeah, I like what you're saying. I think we're in agreement, right? No, then the thing is this: is that, like as you said, that you have to take responsibility or knowledge of yourself. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So it has to be a must. You know. So, for example, if you know that, for example, someone's on, got mental health challenges, or they're alcoholism and they're on crack cocaine, you've got to sit and say, well, this is a must. I must come out of this madness here. I must. So once you make that commitment to yourself, right, that you must come at this, right?
That's right.
You're halfway there.
That's right. Anger, denial, acceptance, my brethren.
You see what I'm saying?
That's how we know it.
You see, let's be real, because there's people out there listening right now, because we're locked in all over the place, all over the world, in fact. See?
Nice.
And the thing is that people are listening right now, and we're talking. What we say to people that, if you're hooked on crack cocaine, or you're going through a mental institute, going through some mental challenges, mental health challenges,
yes.
Right, you've got to take responsibility, because when you talk to somebody,
that's
right, there's two things, right? So that person don't want your advice, or they don't want help.
You can't help them. Full stop. You become a hindrance, in fact.
It's quite simple as that.
Advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
True,
right.
true.
So the baseline, and that's what I'm trying to say, guys, is it has to begin with you making a conscious decision to do something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, ain't nobody can help you.
See it. All right then. Jammers, what?
Yeah, I don't think we really understand the fullness of mental illness. Because you see, people who depend on drugs is one type of mental illness. You see, there are people who call mad people. It's a different kettle fish, as the mother said. A total different kettle fish. You can't reason with them because them not no reasoning. If a man take drugs, you can't tell him have to come out and fight himself. Me talk about people who can't help themselves. It's like a crippled man, him can't walk. Somebody have to take him up and hold him A man have a hole underneath the armpit there, and the next man have a hole underneath the armpit there. That me I talk about, right? So this is the stage where we are talking about herb for getting back for start walk on him feet again.
Yes.
Yeah, and a whole heap of people in our communities like that one need one arm over this one arm over this. You understand? A whole heap of our people is like that. And we are said the only thing that I know, right? Because some people talk about spiritual and healing and them things, that's fine. If it's work, it can work. I never see it work yet. But I know so herbs can work.
Truly, absolutely.
You understand? So at that point that I make, because I think when we are talking about mental illness, because in order for him to get the healing or the cure or whatever you want to call, you are right. Him have to start participate. But there is a point that some people reach where they themselves cannot participate. You have to stimulate that participation. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're talking about being subconscious now. So I wasn't dealing with that, my brother. If a man is subconscious and they are no longer in control of themselves, and we all know the game there, that person is vulnerable. And we just have to hope that they are around a blessed who has the awareness of their needs and knows what to administer to them. Because remember this, if you give them something that you may know is good, it could still have an adverse effect on them. So on some level, we still have to kind of appreciate that we need some feedback from them about how it's affecting them and what's going on inside them.
Yeah, but so, you will notice that once the herbs start work, you know, you notice that they will start communicate with you.
Yes. I'm just saying it's a sensitive and delicate thing. But you're right. If the person is subconscious,
I just want to,
you need a healer. You need a man to draw them out.
So cool. I just want to add one. There's one element that we have to. I think we need to draw into this, and basically we can be logical about something. We can be analytical about something. We can be spiritual about something. We can use the right words. We can have a perfect plan. But there's one thing that in the equation, what is a hindrance to the cause of mental illness, and that's addiction. And addiction is goes beyond the words and the planning and the ability, because you could have the best plan, but the addiction kicks in. And addiction, where we have to really find out where the key, what is addiction? Addiction is because we've been trained to love. We've been trained to love. We've been trained to believe. And no animal on the planet loves and believes. It does what's practical for its existence. If you look at the word love, in Latin you see the word amor. Amor backwards is Roma. That's a Roman concept, because it's moving outside of ability. Its ability for itself. It's gone beyond. So if you look at the products that they give us, is based in that they teach us how to love things. So basically they give us these sweets, they give us this sugar, and the love goes beyond our ability to be able to make the right decision and to resist. So this is even the religious concept. It brings in the love concept of going outside yourself. And if you look at the word love, is the word when you do anything to get this product beyond even your words and your logic that you're saying. So basically this is the concept that they've given. And the next thing they do, basically, God in Latin is juice means a double. So what they do, they'll duplicate the product with art. So they'll make an artificial product that looks like the real thing, tastes like the real thing, but because we're in love with this product, we're not using our heart to decipher the art. And that's what is the key problem, is we've got to leave this love alone, leave this Roman antic and stop acting like the Roman. We've got to leave the romance and the love behind, and that's our step to breaking this mental cycle of curse of the spell.
Okay. I just want to jump in there, because I might look at it slightly different from on my brethren look upon this thing here. Because you see the thing love, right? No human being can survive without love. That's a fact.
That's right.
You know, if it's a lack of love, a lack of, deficiency in that human being, you see. So we need to understand what we're talking about. See. So I just want to bring it into the hold on. I just want to bring it into the mix, because for your existence love is very, very important. So we need to be
Of course.
clear what we're talking about. Yeah, Sam, you want to come in?
Yeah, I fully get what's going on here. I mean, what Jammers has said. I get it. What Brother Dougie has said is very true. Everyone here is saying the truth. Yeah, saying aspects of what is the full answer to this. But you see, the thing is, language and our definition of meanings of words, or meaning of what form we would use to convey a message, these things get complicated because the language itself. What Dougie said is very true. The principle, I would say, what is called love. In a different language, you could say, all right. The word David actually comes from the word Dawood, and it means beloved. Right? But you see, the thing is that the energy is what we got to tune into to know it, beyond the definitions of what the words can distract us away from.
Absolutely.
What Jammers was saying about the meaning of the word love, and you look into the Latin, it's amor. It's also French. Has a lot of Latin in their language, and what that I would see also the word armor is connected to that, right? Now,
that's right.
Now the thing is, it's that love is not that we shouldn't be loving. The word is what we're getting all messed up with, but the very principle of that vibrational frequency of life is vital, yeah? And we happen to call it love, yeah? But what we've been caught up with in believing what love is not what that energy is. It's neediness. For example, which then leads to addiction, because that neediness is coming from a perception of lack. There's something you don't have in you, so you need to seek outside of yourself to something that now becomes artificial, because it's not being generated from within you, right? So it becomes something that you're dependent upon externally. Now, whom controls what that thing is that you now become dependent upon now controls you. Because you've given away, people are giving away their power all the time because they don't realize their powerfulness. Because when you come in here, you're told to give away, you see, it's the mind thing. You see, your mind and mining your mind, mining your mind for the jewels of the soul used to be a term, was the name of one of these books. In fact, I won't go into that because that'd be taking us into some doctrine type of talk we don't really want to be dealing with. But the thing with the mind, you see, and the mining, our minds we've been mining our minds, giving our uniqueness over to someone else to utilize it, and then we're left with what? Nothing. And because we're giving our power away. This is how we've been conditioned to, when you come in here caught up in a mindset, rather than remembering that we are consciousness itself, and that we control the vibrational frequency of what we focus our consciousness on, and then we become that. Unfortunately, people believe that the God principle and the devil principle is outside of themselves. So you got people who just make themselves as a victim, and therefore you got to have a perpetrator that depends upon the victim is depending upon the perpetrator, but otherwise they can't be the victim. You know what I mean? You got these erroneous states we have adapted and identifying with, which also contributes to the addiction, contributes to the illness, contributes to the condition. You see what I mean? And the situation. So there are these many factors that deal with this mental health, mental illness, and the whole thing about why it's important for us to connect with the principles of life. The principle, when we say ma'at is the balancement of truth, but it's also about the foundation that creation has been established upon, based upon these cosmic laws. Yeah, you reap what you sow. So sometimes people are getting things coming back to them because they don't understand about the vibratory, the reality of, thoughts of things. You entertain certain ideas. You draw to you entities that people would say different spirits. I would say you got different frequencies of consciousness that then will be attracted to individuals who are entertaining certain ideas and thoughts. And these energies now is what feeds upon the condition that the person is in. Because, you know, it's like even that we feed upon even the type of thoughts that we're preoccupied upon. You know, some people can say that you're consumed with bitterness, you're consumed with anger, you're consumed with grief. So you become grief. You become this vibration that attracts to it like vibrations, like frequencies of consciousness that can seem like possession. Now we got our brother Edison in the house, and he knows a lot about these levels of the reality that a lot of us do not acknowledge, but it's happening all the time. Because which is why we really need to deal with the solution is getting back to source, lining up with the divine source, the source of all that is, what terms you want to call it, yeah? But we have to line up with ourselves, line up with the source of ourselves, the true nature of it, because that's a high vibration that kicks out any illness. Illness is coming along when we believe we lack what we already have within us, yeah? And therefore we're looking outside of ourselves and going to be addicted to what we now become dependent on, and that now leads us down the path of a lot of mental problems, emotional problems, you know, and also not aware of the karmic. What I say by that is the cause and effect behind what so many of us don't want to take no responsibility for how we even get a condition, come into a condition in the first place. Because it even goes back further, the fact that when you're dealing with universal laws, our thoughts and our feelings are how we sow to what we reap. And we may be living either by egocentric living and less by soul awareness or being in alignment with ourselves. And what happens is when you're sowing certain thoughts or certain actions, you may not have had to reap it in that life that previously, the one that you was in. But then as we incarnate, because the consciousness we leave this plane with is the consciousness that brings you back. So you come back based on the level of consciousness you left with in order to give a chance to grow beyond that limited state of awareness, which caused certain conditions to manifest in the first place. Because what you may not reap in one life, in this life now is when you're going to turn around and reap it. And then people just think, how does this happen to me? What is this? Because we've been taught to externalize everything so much and believe that our source of power is external to us. The creator is some force that is external to us. Things that happen in our life is happening to us rather than happening from us, because we're not taking that responsibility to be empowered, because we have this erroneous idea that the creator and the devil are these external concepts, rather than realizing that some conditions that we have, that some people are experiencing, are actually results. And this may seem, I don't want to upset anybody out there, but truth is truth in the reality. If you can accept the truth, then, you know, then roll with it and move with it and grow with it. But some conditions, a lot of conditions that some people are experiencing, a lot of conditions, there's a cause and effect behind it. There's no effect without a cause. And that cause may not have been taken place in this particular time stream that you're in. It's because everything takes its time to grow, yeah, but grow it shall. So we're living with this principle on a bigger level in order for us to really take responsibility for ourselves, to realize what we put out as a vibration is what we're going to draw to us and create, because we are the creators. We are consciousness, and that consciousness can tune into any frequency of vibration or any frequency of reality that we choose, in the sense if that's what you're going to focus on, you know. But and so part of it, we have to look at the effects or the causes behind why people get into various states. Neediness is not love. Neediness is coming from a grasping behind what is we believe we lack within ourselves, and then you get manipulated because it's external power rather than authentic power, which comes from within. This is how things have been set up in the system.
Okay.
And I love everything you said, bro.
Okay, brother. You want anything to add? Because I'm just conscious that people want to phone in still. See?
Yes. Absolutely. I would just like to say, in regards to what Sam was saying, yes, that I agree that on the first level of healing, on a physical level, you would have to obviously try to get your body back in control. Sorry. And that is like what Ras was saying, that is with medication. But the next stage, which is always where the war takes place, is in the mental plane. The bridge between spirit and physical is the mental plane. So that's where the battle really begins. And in that case, that is where we can now say we have a part to play. If it's our physical that has taken us beyond that, then obviously we have to have help outside. But where we really come in, and I think this is where we can help as well with preventative, as well as helping people along in healing, is to say that they have to take control of all that they are taking on board themselves. They have to go back and regress and find out what has brought on these things in the first place. Otherwise, if you don't go through these processes, even when you get healed in the body and you come back to yourself, the real true illness, which wasn't the drug itself, which was the state of mind or the frame of mind that you were operated in, is going to cause the same problem or another trinket, but the same situation. And so that's why we say that it is important that as a community, as individuals, we have a responsibility to make sure that we are portraying the right kind of behavior, the right kind of understanding, the right kind of codes of operation.
Truly.
That is really taking responsibility for ourselves. Understanding that we are the first point of call. That even if you are seeking advice, you still have a point where you need to choose who you're going to trust. So I'd like to just finish by saying that I think it's important we all understand that it's about confidence, trust in yourself, and learning that if you don't put faith in yourself to do right by yourself, you can't expect no one else to. And that's what I'd like to say, guys.
Can you hear me, Pete?
Yes. Oh, yo. Yes, brethren. Yes, my brethren.
Yeah.
Almost love and respect, man.
Yes. I mean,
And thank you.
that you know, yeah. I feel we all agree. We agree with that. You know, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have to be self-empowered. This is the whole thing of taking back our power, and this is where it starts, by being responsible for ourselves. You know, we have to take responsibility for our situation, our condition, and so forth. Yes, there are things that have been manipulating, you know, the whole show, but the thing is, ultimately, the PowerPoint is within ourselves, and
That's
practical is practice, and we need to therefore practice whatever the practical measures are that enables one to get to into a better place within themselves.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's not going to happen if you expect someone else to drink water and quench your thirst, because it don't work like that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So yeah, brother, I agree with what you're saying. Anybody else?
Give time.
My brother?
Yes, man.
Yeah, I'm just conscious that people are trying to but feel free to come in a little bit, yeah? 'Cause I want to open the live link a bit more now, yeah?
Yes, absolutely, man. Love and respect to all of you guys. Yeah, keep up the flow.
Yeah, man.
And have a good evening.
Yeah,
still,
man. Feel free to phone back a little bit later, yeah?
All right, we'll do.
Just
man.
free up
Respect,
yourself,
man.
see?
All right, nice one.
All right, then,
See you
give
later. I'll
thanks,
keep
give
listening.
thanks.
Nice, I like that.
All right, and give thanks. Okay, then. I just want to open the live link even more. The live link number is 07960. 07960 23 one brethren 07960 239 493. What I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna have a short break. Hold on.
In every event that takes place,
Yes.
there's always some message or something to be learned from it.
All right. Is this coming through? Yeah. Whoa, yeah, man. Let's get how deep you want to go, because deep is getting to the core, you know, and the core is the heart, and that's what we want. Now, of the truth. You see, these principles that inside the reasoning with Buta Baruka and the sister in there. You see, these things are what is necessary, but it's going to have a difficulty getting through the conditioned mind that has, you know, been conditioned to believe certain things, that, no, there is badness, or there is evil, there is goodness, there is a judge outside of yourself that's going to take the responsibility for who's done bad and, you know, embrace all who's done good and all of them thing there, which means that if that was true, that means say you have a partial God.
And when we are dealing with principles, it's impartial, yeah? And it has to be impartial for it to be universal and operate everywhere, anywhere, for anyone, you see? So this is where we now have to transcend this idea of good and bad, you see? And I think in what was being explained there was like we have to, like fire is neither good nor bad. Water is neither good nor bad. A knife, a gun. I mean, these are some things some people may think, oh, what are you talking about now? You know what I mean? What are you trying to say? That it's okay for people to go around and do all them they do, and nobody ever say nothing. It's like, well, no, that's not what I mean. What it is that it's actually more about how we have to take responsibility rather than projecting what we don't want to take responsibility for onto some object, onto some concept, onto something external to you. Because when you see it's our own biasness and judgment and criticisms of how we've been made to think in the sense of the conditioning that actually causes a lot of our problems, right? Based on what we put out there. So it's important to as we have to transcend, yeah? We have to now rise up above now and deal with some broader and more authentic realities here to understand that, look, you know, a knife ain't bad, it's the intention behind it, yeah? Who's using it, fine or bad. There's no good and bad, it don't exist. It's what meaning you're giving to an experience.
It's true, I agree with that.
Yeah?
The meaning you give to the experience. I agree with that. But I just want to jump in here because we do have Edison inside the house, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, Edison has always said, and it's a free wisdom, is a story you tell yourself all the time. You know, because don't forget, right? Your mind's like a video recorder, right? This one from Edison, right? That it brings up past memories, pictures of the past, right? And what it does, when you see that picture, right, in your mind, you create a feeling towards it. Yeah, it's a feeling, right? So you create that image all the time, you know? You either crush that, right? And create your own positive vibration image, you know? So I just want to say that. But we do have Edison inside the house, so I wonder if you can bring in Edison inside the house.
Well, yes, without further ado, my brother Edison, how are you? Yeah,
I'm
coming.
well.
Yes, sir.
It's late. Sorry for coming in so late. Yeah, circumstances beyond my control. So I've come in late to the conversation. I'm sure all the best bits have been said already. When it comes to mental health, I'm sure, you know, everyone has added a fair amount. It's one of those ambiguous subjects because what we regard as mental is not often in our control. What we're meant to is what we're meant to tell ourselves. And a lot of people are missing the point where essentially their beliefs, things that they actually carry as who they are, is the reason behind a lot of their true issues. Often, as we say, the reason for people being in bad situations is because they're losing the argument they're having within themselves. They're losing the argument they're having within their mind. The darker side of them or the fear side of them is actually putting them in a suspended situation where they can't win that argument. They're in a scenario where saying, I want to do this, and the voice in them is saying, you can't do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they can't convince that other voice that they're actually correct. So as a result, that other voice puts them down, tell them to sit down, tell them to lie down, tell them to give up and not try. And that aspect of them trying to move forward and push themselves up to get up and do what they know they can do, they would rather listen to that voice telling them to sit down and keep quiet. So a lot of the depression is the pressure that you're putting from within yourself to shut down yourself.
Okay.
Go on.
Kevin, the live in number
Go on.
0796.
I think that's your cue, Jarvis. I gave you a word to work on.
Our men got 10 way, you know, that's why they queen see the men.
Hold on. Time. 07960239493. I repeat, 07960239493. 493. So if you want to phone in and make a comment, feel free. Inside the host, we do have Siayome, we do have Jammers, Russ McCoy, also Edison just joined us, and myself. So we have a co-host inside this place here. You know, co-host. So okay. So please phone in, and if you want to ask a question, feel free to do that. You know, I know somebody wanted to ask a question, so I encourage them to phone in and ask questions about mental health. So please phone in and ask the question. You know, but you know, I just want to write on to what Edison was saying. You know, if one minute, I'm going to turn this on his head now. Yeah, I think we're turning the head now because, and I'm going to write on what Edison said a few weeks ago when he comes in, because President was asking, you know, how do we process, right? I wanted to Edison put on the table that students are plenty, right? And as I said, students are lost, you know, for certain ways to certain instances. These are the things you do to cleanse yourself, chanting, meditation, and etc. So the spiritual part, I'm quite fascinated by that because, listen, I'm not really, you know, we always have this question.
Go on. Well, essentially, what we're really saying is the understanding that every thought that you've ever had, it actually vibrates and reverberates all the way through your body. So if you're angry, you're upset, it can change the kind of sweat that you create within your body. If you're actually annoyed, the actual sweat that you're going to create is going to use that anger to actually push that energy out. So the room that you're in, the environment that you're in, they're going to feel how you feel. Now, what we say is that in order for that sweat to come out, your energy must have pushed it and held it within your skin, because your skin is the initial barrier, so it actually passes out of your skin into the atmosphere. So your skin retains every thought or feeling that you've ever had. So when we're speaking of the bath, it's really something that is designed to pull out those energies, pull out those feelings, pull out those thoughts, so you can feel lighter within yourself and you don't feel so heavy about the thoughts that you've done. Sometimes persons annoyed you or angered you and you've said something just to, you know, cover the situation. The problem is, even though you may have forgot it, your skin still retains it, because you've created a situation, so therefore it doesn't disappear. When it disappears from your mind, your skin and everything around you, your environment is still holding those words. So the incense, again, is to change your atmosphere. So ultimately, you know, that energy has been diffused, has been broken up, has been dismantled. So you come into the energy, a room, and your energy left there doesn't come back at you. It's the old saying, while you have a child that has its favorite teddy, and every day it cuddles that teddy, because every day it vibrates its feelings of what it wants that teddy to do. That comfort goes into that teddy. So when they lie down, that comfort of what they thought vibrates back to that child. So that child feels comforted by their own thoughts of the energy that they put in that teddy. So that's the same thing. If you put a negative thought into your environment, guess what? When you go back into that environment, that negative thought comes back and revibrates in you and tries to re-overtake you. So that, as far as the bath says, really just to re-cleanse you so that you can start anew every day without carrying all those things of all the things you've said in jest or anger or what have you. So you can kind of be free all the time.
But and I just want to ask another question, and I'm going to open up again with the other brothers inside the house. That the whole thing about words. So, for example, if you say to yourself that I'm not good enough, right? I'm not worthy, or these kind of
Yeah.
words will put you down, right?
Yeah.
Would you say then that you need to start using empowering words like, for example, I am great, I am lovely, I am beautiful? And the reason why I'm saying this, because what that does then, it goes to your subconscious.
Yeah.
Everything goes to the subconscious. So what you do, you're telling your subconscious that you are great, because everything's to the subconscious. Because I mean, the thing is that we kind of sabotage ourselves, really.
My friend, in so many ways. You have that twofold or threefold. One, the words that you use design the images that you see in your mind. So therefore, there's nothing that you say that you don't visualize first. So if you say, I am great, or I am bad, you kind of remember a moment like what you said when you was in a bad state, when you weren't in a good state. And just by seeing that image alone, you create the sensation that you had at that moment, and that is the overriding feeling that you have in your body at that time. So you affect yourself in that way. Also, whenever you actually express a word, because eventually a word is just a way in which you've you've colored a thought. You'll have a thought, you send it to your voice box. Your voice box put a sound on it, and then you project that sound out of your mouth. Yeah. So that goes two ways. It also goes out into the air, which is a problem, because we live in a world we just live in water. Air is just a rarefied form of water. So when you're actually saying something, you're charging the water in front of you, the air in front of you. So what you're also doing is, as people come into you, they're feeling how you think about yourself, because you've actually said something which has charged the water in front of you, so that people feel that water on their skin, and they feel the way that you feel about yourself. Also as well, the voice, you always hear your voice inside your head, which means that you again are then transferring that energy into your body as well. So you physically feel what you see, because whatever image you see in your mind, based on the image you've designed in your head and from the words that you've said, your body is the theater of your mind. So your body essentially, once it hears a word or hears an image, it creates the corresponding feeling. So if a man says he's bad, he's not going to feel good, he's going to feel bad. So every word you say, you're going to create the corresponding feeling to whatever you're saying. So as they say, good health starts with the words that you say to yourself. If you're saying bad words to yourself, you're going to be in bad health.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the reason, again, why I would say, yeah, I think is it going on? Yeah, all right. Yeah, the reason again why repeatedly why we need to start to deal with these cosmic laws and start to understand, comprehend ourselves, I should say, get deeper comprehension of ourselves based on that which governs our being, get the truth, line up with the truth of existence, because these things that we're saying in here, we're all sharing and we're expressing in our own unique way. You see that uniqueness, each one of us in here is unique. Each individual is unique. No one has the same fingerprint as you, right? And you know what Edison is saying, I mean, why we need to understand that everything is vibratory, and the principles in how natural law operates is that like attracts like a electromagnetic bond, because it's the same frequency. You know, you can't plant peas and get corn. Old folks saying, which inside it is coded cosmic law. You can't put in something different to what you want to come out. You can't plant peas and get watermelons and coconuts. Yeah, you gotta plant the coconuts, you gotta plant watermelons in order to reap watermelons and coconuts. So the same thing with ourselves. Our thoughts and feelings are like seeds that we sow within the soil of our consciousness, and then we reap what we've sowed based upon what
the nature and the quality of those thoughts, which generate how you feel about those thoughts to yourself, in yourself, to what then now goes out, to what you sow, to what comes back to you.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Okay then.
There's no escaping.
Okay then. We got someone live here. Greetings.
Greetings, good evening, good morning, and good night.
Okay, give thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
To the brothers, I mean, you've got a full house inside there.
Mm.
I don't know how you're managing with all that energy that's flying around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. My question goes, I mean, all of them will answer it in their own different way. What would you say that our ancestors would want us to do, or what are our ancestors trying to make us more aware about ourselves when we talk about the conscious?
All right. So the question is, what would our ancestors want us to do when we ask the question about our...
As in being made more aware about helping ourselves,
Helping
working
ourselves.
on ourselves.
Okay then, that's a very good question. You know? Okay then. So who wants to answer that question first? Ras McCoy, you want to ask that question? Sam, anybody here?
I can.
Okay then.
Well, it's my time now. The ancestor time gone long time. You understand? It's my time now, and I don't have no time for that. I have time for I and what I plan to do and what I intend to do. You understand? I accept that I have my ancestors' genes within I, and I am my ancestor. So, because all of the genetic code and them things, they come from where? Back from them longer time there. So I accept that. But it's I time now, and it's I for do the expression. I don't need to call upon nobody else but myself to do what I have to do. You understand? So I'm not going on a roundabout and no mirrors. I go straight to the thing. Is that is I, and I go do what I come have to do, and I have to do what I have to do. Bless her. Yeah.
So, James, you want to come say
Well, I think the things have already been set for us. The code's already been set, and it's also in our DNA. And basically, it's the Medinetra, really, basically, which is it's in relation to nature. We've just got to function with nature. As I said earlier, we've got to throw away this romance, Roman antics, and the love, and use intelligence. You know, so it's intelligence over Rome, and the Medinetra is what's been a guideline to put our mind to counter this opposite force, which is basically, if you look at the hieroglyph and look at the Phoenician correspondence and look at the Jewish correspondence, then you'll see there's a working formula of the mind that basically, as I was saying earlier.
What are Jammers? The question she was asking about in terms of our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're just going a bit off.
No, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just a practice.
Can you come a bit closer to the mic as well, please? Could they just come a little bit closer so I
Right.
can hear
No,
something?
you can. All right, can you hear him? Speak, Jammers.
Yeah, but he needs
Yeah.
to come a little bit closer.
Can you hear me now?
to the
Can you hear me
mic so I
now?
can hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's the practice that it's a workable formula to practice the Medinetra. And basically, if you look at the symbol A, it's the vulture, so it's to breathe. The power that we have, we can control time in motion and power through our breathing. Also, we are fire related, so everything we see relates to fire. And then we use the breathing to stand. If you look at the B, you'll see the foot to stand, and the C is the basket that we carry ourselves. So basically, there's a workable form for us to use, and it's to work with nature, to use our intelligence in relation to nature over love and romance of the Roman antics. It's intelligence over antics of Rome. Thank you.
Is this working? Where we got this?
Yes. Greetings, Sister Grace. How are you doing? I recognize your voice. Pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
Your question. You see, I would, mine would be partly the same as Brother Russ McCoy, because even some of the things we have be conditioned to think of and believe as the ancestors is parts of keeps us in the past of what we were rather than what we are to be, or what we can become, and if we turn around and deal personally, yes, the ancestors are us. I think some of the ideas about looking for these answers to our ancestors, which kind of get taken outside of ourselves, and we misconstrue what these principles really were. Everything was about you. Everything, even with what our ancestors were dealing with. If we're going to go into the spiritual systems of what we would consider as Kemet in ancient Ethiopia, when you're dealing with the principles, the spiritual principles the ancestors have set in, these things came about to make us realign, to help us realign back with ourselves to the universal principles that our being is in harmony with. When we're not in alignment with ourselves, our soul, then we don't feel good. We end up experiencing being led astray, so to speak, by our own selves. And in the old papyruses, if we're going to go to about ancestors, to what they left behind, there is a term for magic which is called Heka. And it's totally different to how the perception of magic is in the Western, or this externalized thing. Some people see it as sorcery, which is when you're using various energies for your personal gain only at the expense of others. That's sorcery. Then you got this magic, where when you're dealing with imagination, you have magic there. You have magi. Magi is singular for the magician. Magus is plural. If I got it the right way around. So therefore, now when we go to our ancestors about how they saw magic, they called it Heka. And Heka they saw that magic as within us. We already have Heka, that magic within ourselves. What has happened with the views the ancient ancestors had in the way we view the world, we didn't look at this plane as something for us to set up permanent residency here. We had a different view of reality. The stuff that we're talking about here, about vibration, understanding the cosmic principles of the immutable laws, the unchanging laws, where we're going to chat about Ma'at, which is a foundation creation, has been put, developed and generated upon, brought into being upon, whatever we want to call it. There are these cosmic laws, and we're dealing with all his consciousness, all his correspondence, all his vibration. These are the unchangeable principles, the foundation. Then we end up having the law or the principle of polarity, and then we got the principle of rhythm. We have the principle of cause and effect. We have the principle of gender. We also have two more principles, which is the principle of breath and the principle of growth. Now these are the operative aspects of how we operate or line up with the law, or use the law of our being. Understand how to work in harmony with the truth of existence. So our ancestors, being ourselves, would be dealing with line yourself up back with universal cosmic laws. All of this man-made concepts, mental concepts, God concepts, devil concepts, good and bad, right and wrong, evil and good, these things that create biasness in our own minds, judgmental criticism about our own selves and others. All of these set up disharmonious energies, frequencies that go out like viruses and affect us in adverse ways, because we're not realizing the nature of our power. When Edison was explaining about, how relating to why we would need baths to clear our energy fields, why we can use various herbs, Ras was mentioning, why we have to be aware of the electromagnetic tonal sound and color vibrations that words give off. Yeah? Why we have to realize all of this stuff links back to vibrations, links back to cosmic laws, principles. Yeah? Not stuff that limits you, but stuff that liberates you and empowers us to line up with the power within ourselves. Yeah? To value life. A lot of us don't even realize that life itself, which is what we is, the principle within us that's animating this form, is more powerful than any illness. And the more we was to praise life, which is giving thanks to the life in ourselves, life to basically feeling good about who you are. Yeah? Feeling good about the life that you are. This raises your vibrations. These would be what the ancestors knew and what they would simply be saying to you. You need to realign with this stuff again.
Okay.
You know?
Let me bring Edison back into the mix.
Oh boy. Forgive me, because I'm in contradiction with my colleagues here as regards to the role of the ancestors in these situations. Only because the basis of the class that I teach is that the conversations that you have within yourself are with your ancestors. So effectively, the relationship between mother and child never ends, or father and child. They're constantly having conversations with you. Every time you go in your mind and you get an answer better than you had your own, it didn't come from you. It came from something more intelligent than you, or something that had a greater understanding. People often say, I was speaking to my higher self. Are they suggesting they are their dumber self? What are they suggesting? There's someone there that's having that conversation with you. Now, the one thing we say is that your mind is a place. Your mind isn't, well, one is the operating system of your spirit, and that's what interfaces with your body. So therefore, your mind is something which essentially is a collection of all the memories that you've experienced in your life. The thing is, these memories are not just isolated situations. They have aspects of energies and intelligences behind them. They have fear factor within them, where people are scared to actually go near certain memories. They're like, man, I'm not going near there. I'm not going near that thought. So really, to have true balance within yourself, you have to have defeated all those oppositional thoughts within yourself, all those energies, all those ideas, all those stories that you use to bring you down, that have you down. Forgive me, I know there's a load of different sciences and things, but actually at the end of the day, it's just you fighting battle within yourself. People are depressed over ideas that come from their past and knock them down and put them down and keep them down. They can use any rhetoric of a god or a story, but if they're losing the battle within themselves, like I said, the actual thought or the energy that is dominating them with a certain thought, that thought actually puts them in their place. That thought owns them. That thought tells them they can't get up. That thought tells them that they're useless. That thought tells them that, you know, they should give up and not try. The ancestors work with you to go and defeat that thought. That thought has an army, has groups and energies behind it. So whenever you go and attack it, it creates a sensation within your body. It has the ability to actually manipulate your mind to actually fight against yourself from within yourself. So the whole idea of the ancestors is to regain control over that aspect. Go to war with your mind, because like I said, it's a place, it's a platform where you create all the images which you experience in your life. So your ancestors have never been away. They're always with you. When someone comes to me and say, do I speak to my ancestors? I said, who are you conversing with when you're conversing with yourself? They have been there all along. They will be there all along. You can have any religion you like, you're going to come back to your same family in the end. All these beliefs you can hold on to, they're fantastic, but ultimately the fact that you change your belief means that your belief wasn't solid or straight. The fact that today I could be a Muslim, I could be this, I can be that. Each time that you grow in understanding of yourself, you change the religion that you had for yourself, but your ancestors stay the same. Because they're your blood, they're your family, They're not your religion, they're who you are. They're not your belief, they are what you are. So therefore you have no situation where essentially your ancestors aren't there to help. The same way you would help your child is the same way they come and help you. And when you understand the whole concept of what blood is and what DNA is and how your ancestors are hidden within these things, and literally your body can speak. If your stomach can speak to you, why can't your blood speak to you? If your lungs can speak to you, if you feel pain, that's your body speaking to you. Why can't the blood traveling around your body carrying all those messages, why can't that be broken down and speak to you?
Okay. Grace?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, you happy with that? Happy with what I'm saying? Because I'm just conscious that someone want to phone in, you see, and they have
Okay, I'll drop. Thank you anyway. Good
but
night.
feel free to phone in still, yeah?
Okay.
Thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you for your contribution, yeah?
Good night. Thank you.
Okay, give time. Feel free to phone back. I know there's someone wanted to phone in. Let's be on the line here now. Okay then. Greetings.
Greetings.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask the question. You've addressed mental health from preventative side. You've addressed it from people who need support. Can your guest address mental health from the social systems that we live in terms of like environmental and financial, which has a serious impact on people's lives?
Okay then. Okay then. So, sorry, you want to come or sorry, Russ, you want to say something, Russ? Or,
no,
make some. Then you come in when you're ready. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, answering that question, I think if for those who've been listening, if you've been listening, I think the same principle we've been giving behind the preventative and the cause.
Speak a bit louder.
And the cause is within also the implications of what the society has set up. How the society has been set up is very unnatural. Yeah, it doesn't work in harmony with the natural living being. Okay, so it makes us conform to these unnatural states. You know, like, you know, you got food on the shelf that has now been set up to, you know, you preserve food on the shelf. Now, nature just deals with natural food. Nature doesn't preserve food like that. You know, you got folks who you get children that will, yes, where your food come from? They will say Waitrose and Sainsbury's and so forth. Now, my generation and those before me we was asked that question. We know it comes from the earth. So the way we're thinking is what's really causing our issues. Now, when we think of finance, what does money now mean to you? We think that the value of ourselves is now being put externally into a paper, an object that has then been called currency, and then that then sets up the way we feel the value of ourselves, what we feel we are able to do or can't do because of money. Yeah, that causes stress on you. That's based on the beliefs that we're holding about ourselves to do with what we've been buying into, this artificial source of power, looking outside of ourselves. And, you know, if you look in society, everything they do in society is really copying the spiritual principles in ourselves, you know, even technology. Yeah, everything is really mimicking us to make us dependent upon what's external rather than looking within and deal with the power that we have within ourselves. We have a current that flows through us. Yeah, that currency can be increased. You see, money is directly related to the amount of currency, energy flowing through you. Yeah, what we attract to ourselves or what we repel from ourselves. You know, there's more to kind of to really break down and explain into this. But the social structure, it's why we need to unplug ourselves from what we have been, identities, things we identify with based upon trying to conform to social values, beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
These things.
Yeah.
contribute to a lot of pressure on our minds.
My sister,
Yes.
are you happy, or you want to
Get deep.
to talk, or yeah?
I understand what the brother was saying there,
Mhm.
but I'm looking for information in regards to we have to live within these social structures because that's how everything is set up. And I understand nature is being destroyed, and it's not to say if you live by money or you're not spiritual or you don't have keep yourself in balance. I'm saying, how do you address these things under the extreme social structure we live in? Because that causes a lot of mental health. It doesn't mean people live by money. It doesn't mean people live by, eating the wrong kind of food. I want to know how to avoid mental stress when you have to live in the social system because you don't live on an island by yourself.
So I mean, all right. So just so we're clear, give us like an example or observation you've seen, so we know exactly what you're talking about. Because what we don't want to do, we don't want to go around and around in circles. Because I have an idea what you're saying, but I just want to have a.
Well, the reality we live in, you have to have finances coming in. You have to live in this environment that we live in.
Mhm.
And obviously we can speak about things of all the good things that have been said tonight. That's all correct. Doesn't matter what angle you come from as long as you're going the right way. But we still live in a state where more people are suffering from mental health disorders because of the social structure we live in, and you can't get away from it. So what other ways can you get the support or recognize this is what's actually happening?
Okay, then let me have a stab at it, right? But I think it will come into our mindset anyway, right? Because when there's a problem, I do believe there's a solution. Yeah, I do believe that, right? But you got to believe that. And what it comes down to is about support and network. You with me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Support and network. Now then, you've got to come to a realization that that, because what you're saying, that you run under this system where, if I'm right in saying that, I mean financially, you're being beaten down, right? You have no money coming in. You've lost your home and you're unemployed, and you just rock bottom, right? And the question you're asking, right? How do you get out of that? Is that a question you're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, the question you're asking me. So therefore, right, it's gonna come down to yourself now, your belief, and also network and support. Yeah. That's what I would say. But I just want to put a pin there because I know that Edison's is here, and Edison, I want to come in upon it because this is quite.
Speak to me, Edison. Speak to me.
Edison, do you want to speak?
Oh God! You know what? The hardest thing is when you say of how do we socially survive. You have to appreciate, obviously, people of color per se have been mentally handicapped from initially. So from a child, from when they show you the first, your nativity play, and you realize that you're not the face of God. You're not the face of the God that you've been created. An inferiority complex is actually inbuilt from the little child at that age. It's really sad when you speak to a little 3 or 4 year old and they'll turn around to you and say, am I bad because I'm black? So from that age already, the child is growing up with a situation where they have to handle so much more than any other child, because they effectively have to balance themselves against everyone around them, sort of saying, you're not good, you're not worthy, you're not up to much. Most people spend their lives trying to get over the fact that they're actually black, because they have to prove to everyone else that they're somehow better, even though at every social environment that we're in, we're always seen as the bottom or the people that are less. Now, as far as the mental conditioning and our mental situation and our environment is concerned, our environment is literally trying to work against us in every aspect. You know, the mere fact that you're toned as black and said as black, you literally are in a scenario where it's been spoken of, thought of, shown as that you are sometimes submersive, you have to be submissive, you can't argue your point. You know, when we have to go to work, especially as a guy, I can't speak in my own tone. I can't even listen to my own music. I can't do anything that is going to create ripples in the people that are around you. You have to literally live inside your own mind, because if you want to fight outside, you won't be able to attract the money that you're looking for, and you won't be able to do the things in that environment that you want to do. So we're in a situation constantly where we're mentally trying to maintain balance in a reality that is unbalanced against us. I'm not just saying persecution situation. It's a case where right now I feel sorry for the youth, because they don't want to take what we took to survive and work in the environment, where we had to basically shrink ourselves, shrink our personalities, shrink our understanding to try and fit into these environments, because we knew that our way would be seen too much, too heavy, too confrontational to these guys that literally we were supposed to be looking up to, but we knew that they weren't any better than us. So the mental side, how I can only imagine to stay ahead, they say in knowing comes peace. So I know who I am, I know where I come from, I know what reality I bring, I know what my mind is mentally, spiritually, all those things. So whenever I'm in the environment, I appreciate it that I'm in a game scenario. I appreciate that I'm there to earn money to survive, but I do not value myself based on what anyone's perception is of me. I know that I'll play the game in those environments, and when I'm actually at home, I'm actually myself. I'm around my own people. I can speak as I know and behave as I understand. When I'm in their environment, I appreciate it that it's a game, and I'll look at all the rules that they ask. Can I play this way, that way? And I'll do that in order to collect what I need to collect and come home and be who I need to be.
I just want to jump in there, because is that related to what the question she's asking?
Well, she's asking socially, how socially we survive our mental health in this social environment. And this social environment where people are, what do you say, socializing per se, the fact is we don't own the rules of engagement. Only in our own environment we do. If it's a case where you have a relationship and it breaks down and all that kind of thing, yeah, you can take it hard, it can hit you hard. You can't imagine yourself away from that person, and you drive yourself insane with the repetition of that idea constantly within your mind. You literally don't see yourself in another picture, and as a result of that, you keep falling back on the old picture and going through the old emotions of what that picture didn't do for you, that old story.
Right. So, my sister, do you want to respond what's been said?
I would just like to quickly hear from Brother Ross there as well, please.
From Ross McCoy, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ross McCoy coming.
Yes, greetings. Well, you know, the real madness is in the system.
So the real madness is in the
system.
The system.
Babylon system.
See.
Yeah, and that's the madness there. Because them I put the pressure upon the people. And them I turn the world upside down. And them I make the people them are living in unnatural conditions. So the madness is really in the system. A guy come up and him run and him say, I'm a part of the system. And him say him feel like a woman trapped in a man body. And next one, he want abuse like a picnic. Say him a pedophile. You know? Them no want to give enough money for go to work and come back, and so you can't even get a holiday a year time. You have to work just to get the bus fare. You have to borrow money to get the bus fare to go back to work. You understand? So it's this madness now that is being played out in people's mind and in people's experiences. You understand? And like the brethren Edison said, the people them can't cope with it. You know? So through them can't cope with it now. Them get what we call mental illness. You understand? So the whole thing about this madness thing is that we are not in our natural environment, we're not eating the right food, we're not breathing the right air, yeah, and we're not having the right thoughts. You understand? And we are not saying the right words. You understand? So, like I did say earlier, you know, like herbs and cure, say Edison come now and I say him have him spiritual bath and them kind of thing there, and him probably have chants and them thing that what can influence the people them mind and them thing there. Also when the people them sick, you know, them don't want to there in a inner city environment. They want to there in a quiet place and them thing there with the right kind of music, because the music them a drive the people them mad too, you know.
True.
That's one of the wickedest enemy right now from the people them, you know. The music, you know. Yeah, it a drive the people them mad. You understand? The way them a build the building, them only tall skyscraper building and them thing there, right? The pollution in the air. All these things is driving people mad. Me remember when me there in a Jamaica, you know, then say the people them who used to come from England mad. Yeah. So it was what really and truly did that was the people them who couldn't really cope with the England environment, the dark, dull place, the chimney them blow out smoke and all them kind of thing there. And them couldn't cope with it, the factory work and all them kind of thing there. So them classify them as mental ill and put them on the plane and send them back home. So the people have always said the people them from England mad. But the fact of the society is England were mad, is Babylon were mad. You understand? Are them mad and we got to take on them madness. You understand? So what we need to do now is leave for them energy alone and stop absorb them energy. You understand? You understand? And deal with the herbs and them kind of thing there. So if we have someone who is mentally ill and them kind of thing there, we have to give them care and attention, because they are going to need that, because they are crying out, they are calling out. You understand? So we have to give them some kind of comfort, but we need to create the right environment for them. You understand? Yeah. Sometimes they need just a holiday they want, you know, so they might have to chum together and put our money together and send them go have a nice holiday, because the reason why they are mad is because they are sad.
See, but what about Russ? You remember Motor sing a tune? You know, Gufflin, a
white man country too. Yeah, but it's a worldwide thing now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a worldwide thing now. Because it reach a Jamaica, the car them reach a Jamaica, the tall building them reach a Jamaica, and it reach Africa too and all over the place. Because it's the mentality we are talking about, you know. See. And it a drive the world now, you know. The so-called one world order, the one world village, and all these foolishness, and them turn everything upside down. Yeah, so what we have to do is when them are turn upside down, you know, better go upside down with them. You just do what you do and do what you have to do.
But you see where it comes down to, right? We have to start practice our own rituals. Yeah.
Well, I don't really deal with rituals, you know. I know my brethren I deal with it. I don't really deal with rituals. I just deal with consciousness. That's all I do.
Yeah, Russ, because to survive in this environment here, right, we need to have our own, personally speaking, of our own rituals. Because here's what I'm saying, that every race of people upon this planet here, right, have their own rituals in our brethren.
Yeah, I know men and people, you know. You must get that clear. I'm a unique being, and everyone is a unique being. And everyone deal with them own situation. If I want to feel like say you need ritual, you need to get up in the morning and look up in the sun, fine by him. Yeah, that is fine. Right? I do my thing the way I feel, when I feel, how I feel. And so I do my thing.
See.
So if I don't feel like get up this morning, I get up this morning.
No, but
and if I feel like the sunshine and it wake me, I just follow it. You understand? So I just work with the vibes like them say, you know.
See.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, you want to commit, sister? You have to add to what's been said?
No, I appreciate all the comments that was made. Obviously, I would take back the positive energy that has been put out. So I appreciate the feedback.
So, but I mean, let me just ask you a question. Let me just be a bit feisty with you and a bit fresh.
Well, just be careful how feisty you're gonna get.
No. It's just that. Do you practice any kind of rituals yourself or anything?
Most of the things that have been said tonight is already what's been put in place. My diet had completely changed. My spiritual being is a lot stronger. There's just a lot of things that has been said tonight that I'm quite aware of that was put into place, and I've always lived by trying to keep myself balanced and working against the system. But sometimes when you're obviously living in a system and you are not part of it, you find things come down on you like a ton of bricks. So I'm just still trying to maintain my balance within myself, but I appreciate the positive energy that will continue to make me live within the balance I live with.
But let me jump in there, because when you say that we're not part of the system, right?
I've never been influenced by
I understand that, but when we look at, say for example, like the Jews now, right? They're a system within a system where they practice their rituals, their culture, their religion. You know, it's all one. You see. And
as a black community, we don't have the same. We don't have the buildings. We don't have the. We have a community. We recognise ourselves, but we don't have all the infrastructure as a community.
All right.
Support one another in the way that we should be looking after one another and not be looking for anybody else to help us.
Okay then.
So that's the difficulty that where we come from, and also within the system to make sure we don't have those kind of facilities, even though we have the skills.
But from you said to know what you're talking about. Yeah. All right. Okay then.
Can I say something?
Okay then. I think Sam wanted to. Sam was before. Then you come in a bit. Instant.
No, it's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have something to say, but I mean, when you feel you want to say something, if you
no, it's only because
pertinent to
you see, this is the problem, because we don't have our own spiritual systems, or we don't have our spiritual understandings. The problems that we actually have within the community, especially with mental health. See, for me, it's very difficult because we have to speak according to the environment we're in. And certain things I would like to say, I can't always say, because people might find it awkward or strange due to the Christian upbringing. I won't say Christian, because a lot of people say they're not Christian, but they still think like Christians. So therefore their emotional attachment to religion is still blocked by Christianity. So when you say something about African spirituality, they're going to go back to say, I don't believe in that. And they say, I don't believe in Jesus, but I still, no, I'm just, if you want to, again, the only reason I was going to say that is because there's certain entities, certain energies. There's a depth to the African spirituality that goes way beyond what has been accepted as normality or even spoken of. So there's situations where people are carrying mental health because the energies within them are actually advising them to behave in that way. And this environment right now is breaking people down so that their frequency is so low that these energies walking around can walk into these people and start to dictate how they should behave and what they should be doing.
Oh, sorry, Edison, don't be rude, but what you're saying now is the frequency of the energy is so low, that's why the entity can walk into them.
The entities are walking straight into the people in the community. So you're seeing people under some serious entities, serious energies, intelligences, controlling their behavior, switching their moods, switching their characters. The person can't be the same person within the same day. There's a whole set of situations that I'm witnessing, but you try to say something and they'll pop up, Jesus could save me or something like that. And in honesty, I know that what that person is under cannot be fixed by the solution that they're looking for. And even though they go around saying, I want to be Muslim, they want to be everything other than the original African traditions that created their consciousness. Their consciousness wasn't created in India, this place, that place, that place. It was created in Africa. So therefore you go to the source, the origin of where the people of your pigmentation come from, and that's where you're going to find the source of the answer. You look outside and say, yeah, this person's got a clue, pray 5 times. The consciousness of the African, when he was actually in his right mind, knew that there were energies that came from dimensions outside of this world, from outside of this place. So therefore, when he's battling from a gateway that's within him, not outside of him. It's like an illness. A person will take an antibiotic and that will kill the presence of the illness, but the life force of the illness actually goes and hides in the spine of the person, waiting for the person's health or mind to go low, and then the illness will re-represent itself. It's the same thing with these energies and these entities. They're sitting there in the back of your mind, sitting around your imagination, waiting till when you're thinking, trying to imagine a